Do you think you're ready for the physical demands of farming? Let's find out in this 6-minute test where we look at your strength, stability, and endurance. I wanted to take a look at some of the physical attributes that farming takes and what the daily grind is, and be able to come up with a test to decide if you're ready for next season or if you're going to join me in the gym. So let's take a look at the test. I have 12 questions spread over 6 categories, and we're going to give ourselves points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 points means you're very comfortable, excellent, or very strong. 4 points, comfortable, good, strong. 3 points, kind of average in the middle, somewhat comfortable. Number 2, uncomfortable, poor, or that you're weak in that area. And 1 point for very uncomfortable, unable to accomplish, or very weak. I am never going to say that you can't do something. All I'm saying in this test is there might be areas to improve on, and there's some adaptability that we can do not only with the crops, but how we grow and how we're viewing our farm in general. If you are watching this video with me and you're like me and you want to get better and more physically fit, this is not us telling you that you can't, this is telling us how you can. So the pop quiz is fixing to begin. If you need a pen and paper, please go get it. And before you hit play, hit that subscribe button. Do me a personal favor, would you? Starting with strength and lifting, the first question, can you lift 40 pounds repeatedly? If you go outside to your farm, or if you look at all your shopping list and all that you plan to do, you're going to have to pick up everything on your farm at least a couple of times a year, if not every single day. Buckets of water, bags of compost, bags of mulch, that's soil amendments. And if you can't do that, you're going to have a trouble. 1 through 5, go ahead and rank yourself. Number 2, what's your overhead lifting ability? It's one thing to pick something up to about chest level, but then to extend it up and over. Think about all the trellising you may need to do. Shoulders may be an issue, back may be an issue. Give yourself a 1 through 5. Category 2, endurance and stamina. Question 3, can you work 6 to 8 hours with short breaks? I want everybody to realize that as soon as the sun comes up, you're on the clock, and often until it goes down. Now, there's a big part of the day that a lot of farmers like to take off at the heat of the day, but being able to stay on task for many hours at a time may mean, hey, we need to get on the treadmill, the elliptical, maybe we need to swim, and can we do some of this endurance stuff? Rate yourself 1 through 5. Number 4, can you handle repetitive tasks? Farming is nothing but a series of repeating steps over and over again. It's true with hoop houses, and it's true with seeding and planting and getting up off the ground and raking and harvesting. Anything you do on the farm is going to be done for several minutes, if not hours at a time. Can you make it? 1 through 5. Category 3, flexibility and mobility. Question 5, can you bend, squat, and kneel for long periods of time? Just talked about it, seeding, transplanting, you're on the ground, you're crawling about, you're weeding, you're inspecting irrigation lines. All of this stuff requires you to get on the ground and get up. 1 through 5, just know that if you're a 1, 2, possibly even 3, there's things we can do like raise beds. How's your range of motion for reaching low and overhead? My example for this is pruning tomatoes, especially in a hoop house where we're going to do leaning and lowering. We're starting up top and we're clipping and we're coming down and we're checking the harvest, we're checking the flowers, we're checking the tomatoes that are ready to come off the vine, and then we're pruning the leaves, and then all that's falling to the ground. We're raking it up, we're putting it in a bucket, we're lifting the bucket up over our head. That's a full range of motion just for one crop, times however many is on that row, times however many rows you have. Rate yourself 1 through 5. Next category, weather tolerance. It's very hot here in Texas. Getting too old for this, but it is what it is, and I can't move. So, if you don't like the cold, if you don't like the hot, if you don't like to be out working in the wet or in humid conditions where you're wet the second you start outside, it's not only a mental hurdle, but it's also a physical hurdle that you can improve in the gym. Let's get on the treadmill, the bike, a long session to kind of help build up that endurance. If me and you both, hopefully, without cutting too much butter, we can lose a couple of pounds, and it's a lot easier for us out there. Rate yourself 1 through 5 on the heat and cold tolerance. Number 8, there's not a lot that you can do in the gym about this, I don't think, but it is a concern or something to think about if we're thinking about looking at our overall physical abilities while we're working outside. And that is, how do you handle sun exposure? I have always been out in the sun. It doesn't bother me. I know other folks, the second they go outside, they burn, and it's horrible for them. So they either have to be fully clothed up, hood, hat, everything under the sun, or they may do some adaptive farming, like indoor farming only, microgreens, specialty herb. Maybe we're inside of a hoop house at the early part of the day under that shade cloth, and we can get in and out. So it may be a crop adjustment. It may be an adjustment into the way that you do your crops. Next category, balance and dexterity. Question number 9 is how are you on uneven terrain? Because the second you walk out that door, you're going to be on uneven terrain. You're going to be on soft mulch. You're going to be on harder ground. You're going to be on questionable landscape fabric. Sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's not. There's going to be potholes in your road. Maybe we left the water on and it's slippy. Maybe you're putting out a silage tarp and it's like a slip and slide. Everything you do, usually carrying something or not paying attention to what you're doing or watching one of our videos on the phone because you hit that subscribe button, is walking around and almost tripping constantly because everything out there is out to get us, it seems. And if you can stay balanced, that means you're less likely to fall, have an injury, drop your seedlings, any of that stuff. There's exercises you can do. There's yoga, there's Tai Chi. There's any kind of fluid movement exercises that's going to help you keep that balance. Number 10, how is your grip strength? Just a little bit ago this morning, I was moving sandbags off the silage tarps, and then I'm grabbing silage tarps that had a lot of wet on them, and I'm pulling it. Had to have that hand strength. I find that my hand strength is different throughout the different times of the year. When it comes to the winter time and it's cold and humid like it is here, I don't have as much. Arthritis is kicking in. Again, I'm from the 1900s. So rate yourself a 1 through 5 on grip strength, and then rate yourself a 1 through 5 on dexterity. A lot of us are coming into farming from office jobs or repetitive jobs like that, and if we have any carpal tunnel situations, picking up small seeds and putting them in little tiny cell trays that never end, that endlessly go on 200 cells at a time, tray after tray, it may be difficult. So I am not an occupational therapist. I'm not sure about what there is to do in the gym, but again, just like the heat tolerance and the sun exposure, it's something to consider when we're looking at our physical abilities and can we or can we not do something. Rate yourself 1 through 5. Last section, question 11, how is your overall fitness? If you're like me, I feel like I can do most things. Still pretty active in everything I do, but I don't want to go out and play 3-on-3 basketball. It's just not going to be a good time for anybody involved, especially my teammates. So I can do things that I like to do. I'm out there, and if I'm going to farm, there's tasks that I'm not going to want to do, and I'm going to pawn them off on somebody else. Rate yourself 1 through 5. Last question is, how long does it take for you to recover? 8 hours of sleep, almost impossible to even comprehend at this point these days, but if I could get 8 hours of sleep, I know that the next day is going to be easier. For those of you that are getting into farming and have a lot of kids or may have a lot of other responsibilities, and you're going to have to burn that midnight oil, the recovery time from that to that physical labor in the sun or in the cold that you're going to have to do, it may mean a shift in how you live your life as far as are you getting all that stretching and all that good physical fitness in that you can then go do without having to recover for too long. It also is going to mean that hopefully like me, you're going to be able to bounce back from injuries a little quicker. So that's our physical fitness assessment test for the farm. The purpose of this video and for having you think about those things is just really take a critical look at where you're at physically and mentally going into next spring. There's a lot of farm chores that need to be done between now and then we're going to have all those transplants and all that stuff to do in the spring, and I plan to be the very best that I can be at the time. I hope you are too. Let's grade the test. So add everything up. If you have 45 to 50 points, I am not worried about you. You're physically well-suited for farming, and you can get after it as you see fit. Number 35 to 44 points. You're very capable, but may need to improve in some specific areas. 25 to 34, consider focusing on less physically demanding tasks or building strength. There's the crossroads that we're all faced with. We can either get in the gym a little bit more, try to take care of ourselves a little bit better. We can eat better. All of us can eat better. I know we all grow a lot of vegetables, but man, when you're sauteing stuff, you got to get them fats in there. So beyond that, let's cut down the sodium. Let's go for a little bit more walks, and let's get ready. There's also things you can do on the farm side of things, like making things more efficient, filling in some of those potholes and ruts over the years so you're not having to trip over things. Go ahead and automate some of those systems and take a little bit fewer steps. Maybe let's take our herbs out and put them in raised beds so we can clip those up without having to bend down so much. It's little tweaks along the way, both in the gym and in the field. And if you're below 25 points, this is really a time to explore alternative farming methods or roles within the farm that are less physical in labor. So this means that you can be a farm owner, know that, hey, there's some things I can't do. I'm going to have to hire that out, which means I may have to plant a little bit more to pay for that employee. There's things that you can do from an owner's perspective, from an efficiency perspective, Maybe you're overseeing the farm from behind a desk, and that's okay. And maybe you're the person that goes to the farmer's market and does the selling. There's a lot of ways to service agriculture besides just being in the field. You may look at hydroponics or deep water culture or strictly raised bed gardening or farming. Being under the high tunnel with the shade cloth is certainly going to help, because you can get in, get out, it's a condensed space and everything's right. So really take a look at where you're at in life. If this is going to be a retirement income, do you really want a job where you're having to get up and down off the ground all day long? Or do you want to do some bench type growing or something like that? All kinds of methods out there, but I do want you to at least consider that when you do your farm planning. So that's it. In the coming weeks, we're going to be doing a lot of silage tarping, a lot of cover cropping. We have a cover crop webinar sometime this month. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that. We will see you in the next video. I sure appreciate it. Stay healthy.